Hi, I'm Amr Mundo, your one and only man of the world, and this is the Zelda Universe podcast. Today we have a very special guest. You might go ahead and introduce yourself for those that don't know who you are.
Hey everybody, it's me, it's Triforce, a huge Nintendo supporter and fan. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about Smash Brothers, so I thought you would sort of be a person who can give us some insights. And I just want to mention, yeah, if the name Triforce doesn't really ring a bell, people might have seen you in various pictures of Nintendo events. You're usually around with like a Triforce hat and a Power Glove and just being around.
For anyone who wants to know about me, you guys can jump on Nintendo Life. There's an article about me. Gives you a lot more insight on who I am and what I've done in both the Nintendo scene and competitive gaming. So,
That's cool. We'll link to that below in the description. So you are a fan of Smash Brothers, I take it.
yes.
So obviously there was a Nintendo Direct recently that revealed a lot of new things. What was your impression with the Direct?
Well, there's not a lot of surprise that from what I've seen with Nintendo Direct on Smash Brothers. This goes with everything that Nintendo does with a lot of their intellectual properties. I don't want to try to put it down or make it, seem like it's bleh, but you a lot of people can't say that they're surprised when it's more like they're happy, excited, better, but surprised no, because this is what Nintendo does. Nintendo always brings out the big guns when needed, and everyone knew that Smash Brothers was going to be a huge, you know, um, a big thing to happen. The characters that they're selected, it doesn't matter which character Nintendo picks because you're going to have those who are fans of so many different Nintendo characters. If Nintendo had decided to put in Isaac from Golden Sun rather than Charmander, then everyone would have gone crazy the same way. Whether
Right.
well, not Charmander, but Charizard is in the game or not, it doesn't matter because everyone's just excited that any new character is going to be in the game representing Smash Brothers. So for Nintendo, it's what they do, and I think everyone's just excited about it. So for me, I wasn't surprised. I was excited and happy because I already know when the game comes out, it's going to be it's going to be yeah, it's going to be a Nintendo season all over again. That game is going to destroy a lot of things. So yeah.
There were a few people that I've talked to
Mhm.
who thought that releasing the game for the 3DS first was a bit of a mistake because then it's not going to help the Wii U as much. Do you think that matters at all, or are people still going to pick it up more on the Wii U to get that sort of home console experience?
Everyone's going to have the 3DS version, obviously, but everyone's going to also have the console version because I think the 3D version is going to cater more to the casual.
Hmm.
Honestly speaking, that's the larger audience. The install base is on the 3DS for right now, but when the Wii U comes out, that's going to be like for the hardcore, and the casual feed into it as well. But I think just that the plan that they have is smart. Why release both games at the same time? If you do that, then people are going to choose between one, and now you have this tear. Nintendo
Hmm.
fans are not fickle like that. That's one of the things I like about Nintendo fans. They love Nintendo universally and unconditionally. So they're just gonna get both of them. I'm gonna get both of them. So anyone
Right.
who's a Smash Brothers fan is gonna get both of them.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people who will, and especially the 3DS mode that's unique to it, the Smash Run, is it?
Yeah, that's gonna be a definite. I want to actually see the mode that they're gonna put in the Wii U. That's what I'm kind of, you know, that's what I'm kind of like anticipating because I'm like when I look at the 3DS version, I'm like, wow, man, this is what they're putting in just the handheld version. I
Hmm.
wonder what the console version is gonna be. That is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, can you give me an example of like what would you like to see? Personally, I'm just gonna throw out this: how awesome would it be to have like an 8-bit mode?
An 8-bit mode, I think that would be a gimmick, and I'll tell you why. Because
Well,
it,
maybe, but it would be cool
it would
enough.
be cool. Exactly. That's exactly what because when you look at the Smash Brothers that's out now, there are a lot of cool modes in Smash Brothers, but like for the most part, no one really cares. When I got Brawl for the first time, I was so amped over having like just playing the adventure mode, and they really amped up the adventure mode for Brawl.
Right. Well, the is it the subspace?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It actually is called Subspace. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
When you play that mode, like I played it, beat it twice, done. Never went back to it again.
Hmm.
The main part of people playing Smash Brothers is to smash brothers. That's the whole point. Like you get you get your favorite character and you play free for all. That's my favorite part of the game. Free for all with items, random select on the stage,
Yep.
and that was the entire purpose of the game. When they made Smash Brothers, the entire purpose of Smash Brothers was to bring everyone together to have good, wholesome land fun between your friends playing video games. When you play Smash Brothers, when I played Smash Brothers 64, I felt like I was in the arcade. When I played Melee, I felt like I was in the arcade. When I played Brawl, I felt like I was in the arcade because that is what the game is built on. Now,
Hmm.
the hardcore people make it a one-on-one.
Right.
And that they are the ones that's adding context to the content, but the purpose for it is originally supposed to just be for that, for everybody to enjoy and have fun, smacking each other around with their favorite characters and watching these cool items appear that give you this nostalgia. Well, for the older players, the nostalgia of all the classic NES things and
Hmm.
stuff like that. That's really what the game. That is the primary focus of the game, and I hope Sakurai sticks to that. That's what I hope he does. At the same time, sticking with that, I hope he expands on the competitive aspect of it so that the competitive community can explode. Um,
Right.
and that is the true, in my opinion, I think that is the true difficulty Sakurai faces. Balance, not
Yeah.
only in the game, in terms of the engine, but balance to the Nintendo fans that support that franchise. I think that's perhaps the hardest game to balance in the world.
Perhaps, and I feel like the hardcore community, most of them were overall a bit disappointed with Brawl compared to Melee.
Mm.
But it feels a little bit like with this game, Sakurai is at least trying. They added the For Glory online mode, which does focus on like one-on-one, final destination, no items, Fox only, etc. And do you feel like it's going more in the right direction to trying to achieve that sort of balance where this game can be in the competitive scene a worthy successor to Melee?
Hmm. I don't think they're looking to make a better Melee game, and I don't think they're looking to um, make a better Brawl game. I
Right,
think
but do you feel like they're, they're at least trying to sort of appeal a bit more to the competitive audience that has grown
yes.
out since Melee?
The reason why is because the casual audience has already been pleased.
Hmm.
The core fundamental values of the game has not changed. It's still the same game in terms of what it offers. Same concept, same principles, new characters. So from a casual standpoint, like for instance, for me, right? When
Hmm.
when when the game comes out and I get the game, the first thing I'm going to do is play the adventure mode. I'm going to go through all the other modes and to play the one player or co-op together to find out all the things I'm going to love about the game. In doing that, I'll learn a lot about the characters that I'm going to use going through those modes. What moves do this and blah 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 and how you attack and whatever. When I am done with the game, the replay value is found in the verses. That has
Hmm.
always been Smash Brothers. So now I think Sakurai is looking more into the comprehensive aspect and depth of the versus mode because you can only go but so far in the single player mode. The versus mode is the most difficult part to evolve because you have to give it so much in-depth content that the replay value will remain there, be even beyond the competition. Just beating somebody, like you want to make it to a point where when guys like Mewtwo King or Armada and those guys are actually playing it, 10 years from now they're still finding out new tech in the game.
Yeah.
That is the like I said, that is the challenge that Sakurai face, and perhaps, just perhaps, he needs a little bit more time, and that's probably why the Wii U version is slated for winter of 2015. Now, don't quote me on that. That's my opinion. I'm not leaking any information. No, don't. I don't want people saying, "Oh, Triforce said," and then that equates to what
Right, right,
Nintendo said. What Triforce says, what Triforce says, has nothing to do with Nintendo.
right. So I want to go back to one of the things you said about doing the versus right and so on. The one of the things that I found most exciting about this direct was the customizable attacks, move sets. So Mario's Fireball would have different iterations, so to speak. How
Mm.
much do you think that could impact the versus replayability, so to speak?
It doesn't. The one of the easy parts of Sakurai's job is that Smash Brothers, Smash Brothers in terms of like its community self propels itself. Nintendo as a community self propels itself. So if anything, nothing's gonna happen. The game's gonna push on its own, and that's pretty much it. Like he doesn't really need. All he has to do is make sure that some of the complaints that the pros are complaining about is
Hmm.
removed. The tripping. Well, I'm not. I don't even play Smash Brothers Pro anymore. I played it when Melee came out. I played it for like 6 months at
Hmm.
Nintendo World at the time, and I was into it hardcore. This was like me, Wes. I was around there with the DA boys, the Deadly Alliance guys. So we played it hardcore. Me and Kuba used to fight over who was a true Link and stuff like that. But like for me, it this is me personally. Smash Brothers isn't a competitive. It's not a like a pro game. Something that you take and you could take it to the highest level. It really isn't. Um, because I manage a lot of players in the fighting game scene that's on my team.
Hmm.
The meta game for Smash Brothers isn't as high as the meta game that would be found in like a game like Virtual Fighter. Because and the reason why is because they're the options in the game allows for a lot of random things to happen. Uh,
All right.
Directional influence, how your character's hit, when he's hit, where he's hit. There are a few people that can ascend to another level, like Mewtwo Kings, like the Mangos, and the rest of those top players that can totally they got the meta game down pack versus the grand audience, which doesn't. But
Hmm.
for them, they just want to play and have fun.
Yeah.
And when you have that, there's not much that he needs to do in terms of that. He just needs to just like I said, take out the tripping and any of the things like the shield balances. Some of the things Mewtwo King was saying, like the shield was overpowered in one of the games. I don't know if it was Brawl or Melee. He was saying those things and like air dodging and hit stun and all of that other stuff. That's for like the pros.
Yeah.
Once he works those kinks out, both both demographics are going to be happy, and it's going to be the greatest Smash Brothers game of all time. But that's not because he's trying to make it better, the best Smash Brothers game at all time. He's just trying to appease both demographics that want to play a Smash game.
Hmm.
So in him doing that, it's going to come out that way. But
Oh,
that's in my opinion. I don't think his goal is like, let me make a game better than Melee and Brawl. Trust me, I doubt Sakurai's thinking that.
no, I think so. I mean, when you're developing a game, you always want to make something better than, especially than what you did last. I mean, we've seen other people like Eiji Onuma, for instance, and I think he's pretty much constantly talking about how he wants to surpass Ocarina of Time. I think most game developers do strive to produce something even better than what they want to push themselves just like anyone else.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I'm seeing some of that in this game because when you saw the initial trailer, it looked a lot like Brawl in HD. You could see a lot of characters moving the same way, and to an extent, all of the Smash games are pretty much the same thing, just like you said before. But I feel like they are really trying to go beyond what Brawl did. Brawl added a ton of content over Melee, for instance, and I feel like with Smash 4, now they're doing a couple things that just do take the game to the next level. So, for instance, customizable moveset. I feel personally, I'm very excited to try that out and see how I can make my character fit me, my playstyle,
Yeah.
and where I can make it so that when you're facing two characters, for instance, my favorite character is Kirby. So when I face another Kirby, it's not going to be necessarily exactly the same character. We can have different attacks and so on and so forth. So that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. And then there are a few other things like they separated the characters such as Samus, Zero Suit Samus, and Zelda and Sheik. What's your opinion about that?
Makes sense. From Okay, I understand. And when they made the previous versions, they were trying to let everyone know, okay, like, well, Zero Suit Samus is Samus,
Hmm.
Zelda is Sheik, so they wanted to maintain the continuity of that. But I think this, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. I think this is just a thing Sakurai did for the competitors in the game, right? A lot of them would just want to go to the select screen and do whatever little input command they have to do to get the alternative versions of their characters.
Hmm.
Or when they start the game, they come in and Zero Suit Samus suits falls off, and well, why do all of that? Just get rid of that. That's just unnecessary because listen, just pick the character and that's it, and get it over with. And it wasn't much of a big deal in the main part of the game, which is the first player aspect of the game, that it required it to even be there to begin with. So I think him taking it out just made sense. Like, why have it anyway? Number two, for what they did with Zero Suit Samus having those the laser boots
Hmm.
or laser heels, just laser stilettos, for having those shoes, like that's kind of I don't see her having that on inside of a suit. You get what I'm saying? So
Right,
like,
yeah.
how would she have that inner suit? That doesn't make any sense. So having Sheik separate like that, it's not like Mewtwo King, is playing with Sheik and then he transforms to Zelda and then he transforms back out with Sheik. He doesn't. So he just he just picks Sheik and that's it. I'm like every now and then, like when he probably gets kicked away and he's trying to teleport back, transforms to Zelda or something like that. But it's not to a point where Sakurai needs to even have that in. So I think him going away with that was a good thing, in
Hmm.
my opinion.
Yeah, and also it does give the characters an extra moveset. So
Hmm.
we've seen Sheik now has a grenade and a I don't know, was it the jumping fish or something? I don't know. It's a
Yeah,
kick jump move thing. And Zelda has a phantom attack, which I know Cody was supposed to be in this cast, but he isn't. But because he wanted to gloat, because I told him that wasn't an attack, and he told me it was, and turns out he was right.
the fact that they're adding certain new attacks to certain characters is good because like bringing the characters back in with the same move sets every single character is kind of redundant.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Sakurai does will be good enough for me. A lot of people are scared, and their fear is based on a lot of hate towards Nintendo that
Mm.
Nintendo gets for absolutely no reason. Trust me, I know how that feelings go. I trust Nintendo. Nintendo has not done me any wrong in the 30 plus years that Nintendo has, been around in
Except for
terms
the
of,
Virtual Boy.
no,
How about the
actually,
CDI games?
but that was Philips. That was not Nintendo. That was
I know,
Philips.
just
Nintendo,
joking.
Nintendo entrusted those guys to do something, and Nintendo's like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" And then they backed up. The Virtual Boy, actually, so funny. The Virtual Boy was not a mistake. It was just ahead of its time. That's all it was, because augmented reality is what we're using on the 3DS,
Hmm,
and the three, which is the same thing, no different from the virtual reality. And the augmented reality is not even a big hit on the 3DS, which as you see, Nintendo use the 3DS to test that. And it's there, and people still play Face Raiders and all this other stuff, but like a lot of people don't really focus on it. So Nintendo's
right.
like, okay, they're not ready yet. See, that's where Nintendo is. They're always innovating, they're always thinking, they're always ahead of the time. And they now that they've changed certain things about their how they go into engineering the next technology for the next generation. Every system that comes out always gives you what the mainstay, and just a little bit about what they're thinking in coming up in the future, and they see how you react to that little bonus, so to speak. And depending on how you react towards the bonus determines how they're gonna be able to deliver that to you in the next generation coming, whether it may be in a big impactful way or not.
Hmm,
That's why when you look at the let's look at the connectivity, since we're talking about the 3DS and Smash here.
hmm.
Um, One second. Bring this notes up. I actually wrote something about this.
Well, it's good that you come prepared. Most people
It,
don't. I don't even.
when you look at the Nintendo 64 and they created the Pokemon Stadium, Nintendo always wanted to, well, they've always wanted to do the connectivity since the Game Boy. When the first version of connectivity was the Game Boy link cables. Then
Yeah.
they said, hey, let's take this a step further. When the Nintendo 64, it would be great if we can somehow connect the Game Boy Color or Advance at the time to the Nintendo 64. Then the GameCube came on and said, hey, man, you know something? We did some stuff with the Pokemon Coliseum and stuff like that. Let's take it a next step further. Let's do like true connectivity where we can use the handheld as an actual controller. And then they made Four Sword, and they wanted to expand the connectivity even more. And when they made the Wii, but the Wii was a huge success. I think it was actually beyond what Nintendo was expecting. But I wish I could. This is the only thing I can't find on YouTube. There was an E3 when they were talking about the Nintendo 3DS connectivity to the regular Nintendo Wii,
Yeah, I think I remember that, and
and it
it didn't
never
really
it
happen.
it never showcased, because I think Nintendo said, you know something, I think the world is ready for true connectivity. And instead of trying to just do what we did with the GameCube, let's take it a step further. Let's make a controller, a gamepad that has that features, but it's its own independent controller to the actual system. And when
Hmm.
they made the Wii U, boom. So that's why we got what they truly were trying to get out to us. Excuse me, the true level of connectivity. Now, when you look at the way the connectivity is now, even that can be improved upon. I say this in so many different podcasts and so many different interviews. The day Nintendo says, let's make Mario and Sonic Adventures two-player cooperative, where they use the engine of Mario Galaxy,
Hmm.
and then well, instead of saying Sonic Adventures anymore, we could just simply say Sonic Lost Worlds. Now that we see what Sonic would an engine of Sonic get a true engine of Sonic game would run on the Nintendo Wii U. Now Nintendo is smart as usual. These guys are geniuses. They're giving it to you in pieces before you get the main course. And I don't want to deviate from Smash Brothers, but we are talking about Mario and Sonic, so still on the topic a little bit. Look at the way Sonic Lost Worlds plays, right? And
Hmm.
the Zelda downloadable stuff. Mario can play in that very same world. He just can't get through as fast as Sonic.
Hmm.
So can you imagine a world that they create where both Mario and Sonic can play in it, and whoever's playing Mario has to do more platform type things to get into small places and stuff like that to collect certain items and to complete the stage, where Sonic has to then run through the world and do certain things that Mario can't do, but you have to play cooperatively, right, to get it done. Then everyone would say, well, that's kind of hard because you have to share the same screen and the screen's going to be cut and you're going to have Sonic running around. How are you going to do that? Well, it's very simple with the Wii U. One of the characters gets their own screen. Someone gets the TV, someone gets the gamepad, and then they can run parallel free
Yeah.
from each other while accomplishing their goals in the particular game to get the level done. That right there is going to be the true level of connectivity that they're going to give out to people. And when that happens, that will be the most sold console game ever.
Well,
Easy.
I no, I do. I must say, I really do like that idea a lot. And of course, people have been looking forward to a true Mario and Sonic game ever since the Olympics
Pretty much.
sub-series were announced. And yeah, as long as Nintendo's developing it and not Sega, I'd buy it.
Well, to be it's Sega will have to have some input because
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah,
They just
yeah,
can't be the main developers. Sorry,
yeah.
Sega.
Leave the design to Nintendo. To be very honest with you, Sonic, Sega made a beautiful accident with Sonic because Sonic is actually a Nintendo character.
More or less. I mean, it
When you
feels
they
like it.
when they made their own character, unlike Sony,
Hmm.
when they made their own character, they made a character that literally stood toe to toe with Mario
Right.
in terms of design and in terms of gameplay. And that was a great move for Sega to say, okay, Nintendo, you know something? Whatever happens to us as a company, here, take Sonic. I'm glad that they did that. That was, because no Nintendo fan wants to see Sonic die. None.
No,
And,
this is true.
no, if a Nintendo's fan says they want to see Sonic die, they're not even a Nintendo fan. They are straight up liars. Because everyone wants Sonic in Nintendo games. Everyone. In fact, the fact that he's back in the new version is even better. I just hope they make him a little bit better. And then
I'm gonna have to have this talk with my girlfriend because she hates Sonic.
she hates Sonic. Nah, she doesn't hate Sonic. She just doesn't understand. He's a part of the family now. Once
Yeah, you're right.
once they make the adventure game with the two of them in it, man, come on, man. She's gonna be like, you know something? Sonic's not that bad. That's what she's gonna say. He's not that bad.
That's great. That's great. Let's just go
Yeah,
back to Smash for a minute. But that was
yeah,
great.
yeah. My tangents always derails. That's my main problem in most podcasts. Especially when I'm talking about Nintendo, I
Hmm.
just derail so much because there's so much goodness that Nintendo has. You can't stick on any one thing. But
That's good.
for
We'll have to bring you on one of these podcasts where we talk about how Nintendo's bad. We'll put you on one of those guests.
that's terrible because whoever's gonna say Nintendo's bad is gonna have to deal with me. But characters
Yeah, that's a good place because people are always talking about characters. That's like you said
Mhm.
before. You said it's not gonna really matter all that much which characters get in because someone will always love some characters,
Yep.
and even characters like the Wii Fit Trainer. I think
Mhm.
people are gonna love.
That was cool that the Wii Fit Trainer has the alternative for it is a male.
Hmm.
That was kind of godlike. I was like, oh wow, that's kind of hot. I was like, I
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
like
wondering
that.
if they're gonna do the same for the Villager.
Oh, that would be even better.
Hmm.
Oh man, that would be even more godlike. If I'm if I let's ask a question here. I'm gonna ask myself a question.
Hmm.
What character would I want to see in Smash Brothers? Now, I'm gonna break this up into two parts: a
Okay.
good guy and a bad guy.
Okay.
Now, I will have to say I'm going to agree with everyone that Genome from the Seven Stars, Super
Yeah.
Mario RPG Seven Star, he should be in the game. I really think he should have made it in the game. No offense to The new Pokemon, which I'm not familiar with
Oh
actually.
yeah,
With
the Greninja.
yeah, Greninja, I'm not actually familiar with him. I was like, who? When I first saw him, the first thing I was like, is this a Pokemon? And then my friend was like, yeah, it's a Pokemon. I was like, oh, okay. But bad guy wise, honestly speaking, I think they should have put Robotnik in the game.
Okay, so I want to ask you two things. Okay,
Mhm.
first on, you're not going with Ridley like a lot of people do.
The reason why I can't go with Ridley is because Ridley is too big. I understand in the NES version, Ridley was the size of Samus.
Hmm.
Yes, they really didn't think about that when they were making the 8-bit sprite. Karad wasn't that much bigger either, but they just Ridley should be a background character. There's certain people that just should be background characters. The- um, another background another background character could have been one of Robotnik's huge robot from
Yeah,
the Egg Boss
like Sonic
uh,
2.
yeah, Sonic 2, like the Robotnik's big Egg Boss machine that he had,
Hmm.
stuff like that. Guys that size, Mother Brain and stuff like that, they have to be backgrounds. They
Mm.
cannot.
Well, I'm not gonna go too much into this, but yeah, personally, I would think, yeah, well, just make Ridley smaller. It doesn't really matter. But it seems like he's gonna be a boss character, and that's fine because
Yeah,
that's been sort of his role, and he certainly
exactly.
fits. But I would more come from it from that, Nintendo should really give Metroid another character in Smash other than Samus and Zero Suit. And Dark Samus is going to be an assist trophy, which I think also is totally fine, but they could also have made her playable. But going
Yeah.
back to Robotnik, what you said, how would that work? Like when I think of Robotnik, I don't exactly think of a Smash character. Maybe unless they go with the Sonic Sat AM design because that was a really badass design.
Actually, the original Sonic the Hedgehog 1 Robotnik would do.
You think? I mean, he because he has like tiny limbs and I don't like
Yeah.
how would he
He
like a rolling attack? That's all he has. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he could turn into a ball. He could do a belly bounce. Look at Rufus from Street Fighter. Just imagine Rufus with skinny legs, and you really see Robotnik. Robotnik could be Robotnik could what character if they let's say they wanted to do a doppelganger off of an existing character already. Um,
Wario maybe? Is that come
yeah, look how
closest?
look how wonky Wario is. Yeah.
Hmm.
That would be the closest. Robotnik could fight just like Wario. They didn't mention Ganon returning, did they?
They haven't yet, but I can't imagine them taking him out. I
Yeah.
can't imagine them taking him out. That would just be bizarre.
Yeah, to take out Ganon would suck because Ganon's Ganon. Like, come on, that's like taking out Bowser. Nah, you can't do that, man.
Right, and I really do hope because we were hoping this for Brawl too, that how he would get his own unique moveset finally, and he didn't for Brawl, and I felt like that was kind of lazy. I could excuse it in Melee because that was his first appearance,
Hmm. But
but
in Brawl, no.
yeah, and
Exactly.
now it feels like you really have to. I mean, it's not like there's going to be a lack of attacks that Ganondorf could have because he's been in so many games. He has his Twilight Princess form. You could give him his Ocarina of Time form. I think even the Wind Waker form of Ganondorf would be really awesome
That
with
would
the dual
actually
swords.
That actually would be, if they were going to bring Ganon back, that probably would be a great version to bring him back as. Honestly speaking, now that you mention it, because yeah, if you want something to be different, the dual sword wielding, then now we have someone that body Marth, who's annoying. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I feel like a heavy character who still has sort of fast dual wielding, because that was sort of he was like in Wind Waker. He was a big character and he was moving sort of slow, but he was striking somewhat fast with
Yeah,
those swords, and he is a sorcerer too. So I feel there's a lot they could do with Ganondorf, and I hope that this will finally be the game where they actually take advantage of his character. We're gonna wrap this up. Do you have anything that you want to touch upon before we go? Any finishing thoughts about the game?
um, In terms of it, well, definitely the first thing I want to say is shout outs to Sakurai for doing an excellent job on the game. A lot of people are being too overly critical, but everyone needs to calm down, right? I think everyone is kind of overly critical for those that are, because I've looked online and I see nothing but great reviews on the game. But I do see some spotty people in there complaining about the game. Like I think they're just complaining because they're hungry. I
Hmm.
think once the game comes out, they'll stop complaining. Everyone wants to just play the game. They want to see all the new characters and stuff like that. Mega Man is going to be ridiculous. Ah, but the last thing I definitely want to say before we close out, honestly speaking, I think they should have one more character from a third party in this game.
And who would you want to see?
I think, in my opinion, to pay homage to the OGs, the guys that started it all, to hold it down with Jumpman himself. I think they need to bring Pac-Man into this game.
I've seen that thrown around. It's not a bad idea, but it's not. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Do you know
I'm,
what Pac-Man Smash, Ultimate Smash would be?
well, he would eat a power pellet, obviously.
Which would be the Smash Ball. And when he
Right.
eats it, everyone would turn blue like a goat's.
Hmm.
One touch kill you. You get hit, whoop, you just die instantaneous. That would be so godlike. Come on, man. And they need to draw the new model based off the new Pac-Man now with the arms and legs. That
That's
now,
what I feel. I don't like. I think that the sign is horrendous.
really?
Yeah, it looks so. It looks like a mascot that someone made for like a, a tire brand or something. I don't know.
Oh, well, but
They might
I
as well
mean,
have the Michelin dude there.
nah,
I
come on.
mean,
You can't say that about Pac. Nah, Pac-Man, if anything, if they would need a character model to copy from, it would be Sonic. Long legs, long
yeah,
arms, ball in the middle. That's the only difference.
fair
And they
enough.
can give him his
Fair enough.
own punches and kicks and stuff like that. And they could make Pac-Man weak until he gets a power pellet.
Hmm.
But he would have to be like Sonic, but slower.
Right. Yeah. No. When you put it like that, yeah, I can see it working out. So if I would have to pick a third-party character,
Don't say Snake.
well, I'm not because Snake was. I think he was all right in Brawling. I wouldn't mind seeing him return, but I think there would probably be some better
They are.
alternatives there.
I don't dislike Snake.
So
I just think he's out of place.
yeah. So what I'm gonna say for third-party characters, how's this for a bit of a long shot? Bubble Bobble.
Wow. Oh, Bubble and
Well,
Bobble?
obviously, yeah. You can't have just one.
Oh, the counter Ice Climber Brothers team. Oh, that would be godlike. Instead of shooting. Oh, and then you know something that's so funny about that?
Hmm.
They could do it because but then what would be their fighting moves?
Well, I don't know exactly. That's for Sakurai to,
Oh
so
yeah,
get
that's
on it,
right.
Sakurai. I just,
Uh,
I just decided, and
okay.
yes,
That
sir.
would be for him to figure out.
All right. Well, Triforce, thank you so much for joining us. I hope all you viewers appreciate it. You're a special guest, like the
Oh, thank you.
second one we've had
Oh
on the
man,
podcast.
I was hoping that you were gonna call me on for Zelda because I don't know if you know, but I'm working on a alternative timeline to counter the Hyrule
Oh,
Historia.
really? All that?
Yeah,
We should do that sometime for sure.
I did it on another podcast before and got a lot of great reviews. The alternative timeline, a lot of people accepted that over the Hyrule
Okay.
Historia.
I'll bring Humulus along and we can have like a nice theorizing cast.
Ah, that would be great.
Cool. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm Mundo, the one and only Man of World. Over and out.